The Silk Road, a fabled trade network stretching 5,000 miles from the Mediterranean to the ancient Chinese capital of Xi'an. It traversed some of the most inhospitable parts of the Eurasian landmass. The Italian explorer Marco Polo traveled its length in the 13th century, but the tales of his epic journey met with incredulous disbelief. On his deathbed, though, he insisted to his family priest, "I have not told half of what I saw." At the heart of the Silk Road lies a massive pile of granite known as the Pamir Knot. Thrust skyward over the past 20 million years as the Indian continental plate has plowed north into Asia, the great mountains of the region, comprising the Hindu Kush, the Himalayas, and the Tian Shan, have long served as barriers to migration. Called the roof of the world, this area remains one of the most forbidding places on Earth. Tucked away in the Pamir Knot lie populations whose relative isolation promises to yield a direct link back to some of history's great enigmas. Where did the first Europeans come from? Which Asian populations gave rise to the Native Americans? Why are the languages of Europe so closely related to those spoken in Iran and India? And could the people of the Pamirs be carrying a genetic link to the armies of Alexander the Great? In September of 2006, a genographic expedition set off to the former Soviet Republic of Tajikistan to find out. We arrived in Khorog, capital of the region of Gorno-Badakhshan, where a statue of Lenin still watches over the main square. This served as our base, and we stocked up on supplies before heading off to the remote southern part of the Pamir Knot. Out on the road in old army jeeps, we headed south along the Pianj River, with Afghanistan beckoning us from just across the rapids. Our first stop was in an ex-Soviet sanatorium built at the hot springs known locally as Garm Chashma. The people living here are known as the Shugnan, distant linguistic relatives of the Persians and the Indians. The Russian members of our team, led by the director of Genographic's North Eurasian Regional Center, Elena Balanovskaya, were already hard at work sampling.
Sampling already set up?
Yeah, I think we're sampling down here.
Check out.
The team takes great care to find out exactly where the participants and their ancestors were born in order to give geographic context to the genetic data. In a quiet room next door, a phlebotomist and his assistant take the blood samples.
So we're taking the photo of the participant here, and then you connect it to a digital printer that prints out the photo, right? As a way of giving something back to the person. That's great.
Back on the road, we continued the drive south.
Здравствуйте. 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 Очень приятно. Паспорт. We've come down from Khorog, which is the regional capital, and we followed the Pianj River, which is the border between Tajikistan and Afghanistan. And we're just about to go into the town of Ishkashim, and it's a really tightly controlled area. I first came to Tajikistan in 2000, and I wasn't allowed to go at that point because the Taliban were pushing north. Luckily, we've been given permission to go down now because things are a little bit more stable. And so we're going to get through this checkpoint, hopefully, and get into town, and then beyond that lies the Vakhan corridor. Some of the most fascinating populations are isolated because they're in places where they've had civil wars for a long time, really dangerous areas, really difficult to get to. And, you know, as far as we know, we're going to be the first people ever to sample the Vaki people living back in the Vakan corridor. But we got to get through these checkpoints first. Very tightly controlled. There's a lot of opium moving through here. About 99% of the opium sold in Europe, heroin, comes through this area. So they're really careful about who they let in. Okay.
Спасибо.
Спасибо вам. Да. Спасибо.
Passports inspected and approved, we headed on to Ishkashim in the heart of the Vakan corridor.